Good morning. Happy Sunday.
Happy Sunday, everyone. This is Calvin and LaTanya Brooks, and we are here with our backyard ministry.
Actually, I am Sunflowers and Lemonade.
That's right.
And Calvin has started what we call backyard ministry. So we're combining today and doing something a little bit different. In my podcast, I'm talking about making lemons into lemonade and things like that. And so he is a part of my journey that I will be sharing as I go through my podcast. But today, those of you who know us already, you really are going to get to know Mr. Brooks today. And he has been a blessing to me. I'm just so grateful for this man that God has placed in my life. Many may not understand, but all we know is that God placed us together, and we are enjoying this journey that God has placed us on. And so today I just want you to kind of get to know Calvin. This may be a help to many that are going through this situation. Some of you may wonder why Mr. Brooks wears a trach. And so it's just been placed on my heart to share his testimony, because it is an amazing testimony, and he is an amazing gift that God has left here for his people. He is an amazing person. He has a great heart for people. He's a good father. He's a great grandfather, great grandfather, and we just have a lot of fun. He's just an amazing person to be around. And so just want to share a little bit about his journey. So here we go.
My journey. So I'm going to say this. What she said about me, go for her too, because I was blessed to have this woman in my life. It's like God put us together, but we have to go the long way around the world to be together. But once we make that trip and he put us together, it's been a blessing ever since. It's been nothing but good things happening for both of us.
Yes.
And so we can say this: we are truly two blessed people that really love God as much as we say we do, because we trust Him, not us. It's His will, not ours. That's that minister me talking, y'all. But we gotta let her get to her questions.
All right, here we go. So,
okay.
God's protection through being undiagnosed. So that's what we're talking about.
Yeah.
When you're undiagnosed and God protects you. Okay. So the question that I want to ask Calvin is, what do you remember about your childhood with sleep apnea, or before you found out about sleep apnea?
Before I found out about it, I didn't even know what it were, and neither did my parents. But before I found out about what sleep apnea were, I can tell you this: in the first grade, I remember it very well. We was reading this book called Run, Spot, Run. I don't know if y'all remember that, but I do. And I remember one day I'm reading this book just fine. I read the whole entire book. But the next day, I couldn't remember any of the words. I didn't even recognize the words. But the bad part about it was I always fell asleep in school. It was hard for me to stay awake doing anything that I did. I always slept. No matter how much I went to bed at night, I always slept. That's part of what I remember about being young, but sleeping everywhere we went.
And that's why I wanted to share this, because there could be someone that's dealing with this now. You don't know what. And as an educator, it's very important to pay attention to those signs. So a little bit of this is a little medical or education help. We're not medical people or anything. We're just going strictly about what he has gone through. But this could be a help spiritually and physically, mentally, for anyone that's going through this. And you may not even know you're going through it. Okay, so
another thing about it is too, I would say teachers that have a child that's falling asleep in class a lot, pay attention to them. Because it may not be that they're not going to bed at night, they may have sleep apnea. Sleep apnea is something that's really not recognized in most of the schools in a lot of places because they'll see a child going to sleep, they just say, well, he don't go to bed at night or his parents keeping him up. That may not be the case.
So what were some of the symptoms? Were you exhausted and snoring or anything like that?
I was always tired. I was like, you as a child, you're going to run around and play. But I was always tired. I was always short-winded. As far as running a long ways, those are things I could not do because of my problem with my lungs. Not my lung, but my windpipe and my lungs. And some other stuff. But some of the symptoms with sleep apnea is you'll know that you get tired real fast. It wears you out. It wears you down. You can bend over and be completely tired just from bending over and standing back up. Because in my situation, my windpipes didn't develop all the way. So it caused me to be to a place to where I could take in air, but not enough.
So when did you find out that your airway wasn't developed?
I didn't find out about my airway not being developed until about, it was probably, I would say about 2018, 2019, when I found out that my windpipes didn't develop.
So you were well into adult.
Yes, I had already had the trach in for I had the trach in, but at that time, I had probably had the trach in for almost 10 years. Almost 10 years I had it in.
And why did they,
and,
so here's the thing, why did they put the trach, why did they feel like you needed the trach instead of other precautions?
What they tried at first were, they was gonna go in and take my tonsils out and my adenoids out. But during the first surgery, it didn't work because, well, let me go back a little bit. When they found out that I had sleep apnea, I had took my youngest son to get his tonsils and adenoids took out by a doctor. But what was in there, the nurse that was supposed to be taking care of me and my son, she was the one taking care of it, taking everybody back. And she noticed that I kept falling asleep and that I was snoring real loud in the doctor's office. So they took the concentration off of my son and put it on me. So when we went back into the office, the doctor said, we're not worried about your son, we're worried about you. He said, you're the one with the problem. Just for me being in his office, waiting for my son. So he sent me to do a sleep study in Clovis. I went to that sleep study twice. The first sleep study was so bad that the guy thought his machine wasn't working. Because at that time, I was having over 100 episodes at a time, which is an awful lot. Really, at that many, people don't really think you should be alive. So he told me to come back the next day after he got everything recalibrated. And when I went back, I was having more than 100 episodes a night, more than 100. I was only breathing for I think he said, for every minute, I was breathing maybe 20, 30 seconds out of every minute. And the rest of the time, I don't breathe at all. And then I'll start back, and then I don't breathe at all. This is how they found it because, and by the grace of God, and by sheer accident, God sent me to that doctor that day with my son because God knew it was time for me to get this problem fixed. That's why I wound up in his office, and this is how I wound up this trach because when they first tried to fix it, it was like what they did was they took me to surgery, they put me out, but they couldn't get a tube down my nose or my throat to keep me breathing. They had to wake me back up because my tongue folds backwards when I go to sleep. And when they go back, there's no air. And every now and then it will release and they could get air, I could get air in. So they woke me up. They told me that you're gonna have to have a trach in because there's no airway and there's no way of fixing it at that time. So I went through all of that they were figuring it out, got the trach put in, life got better. That's how they went.
Yeah, that's amazing how that
I can tell you some stories about that
unfolded.
Though. It unfolded, but during my lifetime without this trach, growing up as an adult, as a young man that liked working, that had to work, I fell asleep a lot. And now listen, y'all, I'm a truck driver by trade. I'm a truck driver, and I'm what they call an A operator. There's no heavy equipment that I can't run. But imagine a guy going down the highway with his head down, and the truck is going straight down the highway. Many a days, I went from town to town and didn't even know how I got there. I wake up. I left Roswell a few times, and when I opened my eyes, I was in Taylor. My brother would pass me in his truck. He said, "I see your head down." He said, "But your truck goes straight down the highway." Well, I can tell y'all right now, only God was driving that truck all them years. Because I was asleep. I'm telling you, I was asleep. And my truck never veered left or right. And it went straight down the highway. That's only God. I'm a heavy equipment operator. When you run the machines at full speed and you hit somebody, you won't even know you ran over a person. Those tires, some of those tires are 3 and 4 feet wide, 7, 8 feet tall. And if you hit someone, you'll never know you did it. I remember one job I was on I heard when they built the casino. I asked the guy to move his bucket because I'm coming through there too fast. And I was falling asleep on that job a lot. But I knew what I was doing. And I asked him to move. And the very next trip I came through there right where he was sitting. If I would have hit him, I would have never even knew it. I would have never knew I did it. This is what I'm talking about, God. He didn't just watch over me. He watched over everybody around me. Everybody on the highway was safe because of what God was doing, not what Calvin was doing. It's a blessing to know that God protected everything around me, including myself.
Yes, that's why I wanted to share, because we wanted to focus on God's protection, and he has so many stories. That's why I kind of laugh, because there's a bunch of stories he's told me, and I'm like, what? Like, how did you drive while you're asleep? It's just crazy, but
it's real crazy.
I wanted to go back to, how did your family respond, growing up with a undiagnosed situation that they didn't even know, no one even knew about what it was?
Yeah, I said a little bit about that a while ago. My mom and dad, my mom told me, she said, well, because your daddy snore, I thought you snore because of your daddy, because y'all look so much alike. And I didn't think nothing of it. I mean, daddy snore, I snore. So, and she thought that's why I snore. She had no idea. Back then, they didn't know what sleep apnea were, no way. There was no diagnosis for sleep apnea back in those days. I was born in 59. So you think about the 50s and 60s, 70s, they really didn't know what sleep apnea was. It wasn't even thought about. It was just a lot of people dying from a condition that no one knew what it was. Every now and then you hear about someone died from a sleeping disorder. Well, no one knew what that were. And my parents didn't know either. You can't fault people for something they don't know. Even the doctors don't talk about back then. And it was just like, my dad always thought that I never went to sleep at night. So he would just get on me all the time by waking up. I worked with him a lot. So he would always get on me, Calvin, wake up, go to bed at night. And that wasn't the case. They just didn't know. That's all it was. It's not ignorance. They just did not know. And neither did I. I didn't know till I was 45 years old that I had a bad, serious sleeping condition. 45 years old. Spending my life falling asleep at 45 is when I found out that I had sleep apnea. Chronic sleep apnea.
Wow. So he's answered a lot of the questions that I was going to ask. We heard how he got diagnosed. But looking back, how close do you feel things were getting worse before? I know I looked at some of the pictures, and you had a darker skin, and there's things now that you look back.
There's pictures that we might post later that will show you the difference. Back then, and I didn't really realize it did, but my skin was really dark, and it had two different dark shades. Up under here, you would look at my face and think that I haven't shaved. But because I was getting so little oxygen in, till my skin color just had, it was really, you could almost say it was almost like it was deteriorating. because it was dark.
You just look so tired.
It was, I looked like I was bloated to the highest part of bloated. My face was huge. I ain't got no little hair now, but imagine something bigger than this sitting on my shoulders. It's like, my niece sent me a picture of me. I'm like, oh my God, look at me. Look what I look like. And honestly, I saw the picture and I didn't even recognize my own self. Mm-hmm. I looked at it and I said, this is me? Is this me? I didn't even recognize me because of the way I looked when I had sleep apnea real bad and didn't know about it. And it was like I was just functioning every day. I was just going.
Yeah. So when you think back between back then and now, how do you look at God's protection now versus back then? You was just like, I made it. Wow, I didn't run nobody over. I didn't kill myself. But now, when you look at it now, what do you?
I look at it now like God is amazing. You know, we talk about miracles that he done back then in the Bible, how he protected so many people, how he healed so many people, how he made the lame to walk, how he made the blind to see, the deaf to hear. I feel like I fit all those categories because I have a learning disability called sleep apnea. Because when you have sleep apnea, you cannot remember nothing. But by the grace of God, he let me learn things fast and let me hold on to them to where I could do almost anything. You can't tell me that you have to know how to do this, that, and the other to become a boss like that in the oil field. I ran whole fields. I ran that dollar hot field for years by myself. I called all the people out. I did all the hiring. But why was that? Because of God. Now, God protection now and then, I feel like God protected me more then because back then I didn't know any better. I didn't know what was going on in my body. And according to the doctors, I shouldn't have been here. I remember one time I got pneumonia in both lungs, and I had a blood clot, a huge blood clot in my right lung. And they was wondering what was keeping me alive. The pain was so bad that I felt like even every string of my hair on my body was hurting. My mom got there and Dad got from Albuquerque. And when she started praying for me, I'm gonna tell y'all something. When she started praying, the pain started leaving. I spent 14 days in the hospital. I remember this real well. The nurse came in and said, that happened again, you may not make it. I said, it won't happen again because God healed me. I can't get another blood clot in my lungs. I'm not gonna go through pneumonia again. And I haven't had pneumonia anymore. And I haven't had another blood clot because God healed me, not man. It wasn't the medication, it was the prayer that brought me through that death situation. Death situation, you hear me? That day, I should have left this world. I had double pneumonia and I had a blood clot in my right lung that was sitting there. So by the grace of God, he have brought me through a lot, y'all, a lot. I mean, he protected me when I was a baby, born with a windpipe that wasn't capable of sustaining me. He have kept me from getting an enlarged heart. Most people with sleep apnea have an enlarged heart. I don't have that. I don't have a heart condition at all like they think I should. I'm able to talk normal when most people that have a trach in their throat can't talk like me.
That's where people, they always ask, are you hooked to a machine at night? Are you this and that? Because they just don't know. And
they don't know.
Honest. It's
and
okay. That,
even my doctor asked me, do you do a CPAP? I'm like, no, I just open it up and I can breathe and go to sleep. But again, it's by the grace of God. It's not by me. It's by the grace of God that I'm able to do what I do.
And he's active, but he still can't beat me in basketball, y'all. Only
because my shooting skills went left and not right.
He haven't got that yet.
I'm going to get her, though. I'm going to get her. But you know what? I can't play basketball, but I'm a good coach.
That's for sure. I can't say nothing.
Yeah,
on
but
that,
it's like God have been in this family, in me, for so long. Even when I didn't know He was there, He was there. Even when I got from the church, God was there. He always protected me. And I will always say my life is because of the will of God, not nobody else. That's why when I do my videos, it's all about God, not about nothing else. I love my wife, but I love God more than I love her. And this woman right here means the world to me. She always has. But God has sustained me for 66 years. He has kept me here. I can't say I'm in perfect health, but I'm real good. I can still mow my yard. I can still take care of my bushes. Hey.
But on that, before I end it, I recently was diagnosed with sleep apnea. And so, because of my high blood pressure, I've had chronic high blood pressure since I had my oldest daughter. And so, I guess life brought it on through all these things that my body has gone through. But I wanted to share that too, because there's a high percentage now. I haven't done the research on how many women, but there's a high rate of women who do not wake up. They go to sleep and they don't wake up the next morning. And a lot of time it is because of sleep apnea. So, we're sharing this video of hope and miracles and things like that, but in real life, real time, get yourself checked.
Yes.
If he tells me all the time that he can tell when I stop breathing and things like that. I do have a CPAP machine now, and as I progressively get better and I get my blood pressure down, which it's been looking great, I'll be able to be off of that. It's not a long-term thing, but it does help me sleep. I feel better when I sleep. I can tell when I don't use it because I feel tired for a couple of days if I don't. So sleep apnea is serious. I don't have the severe version, but I do have it enough to where it stops me from getting the sleep that I need, and I can, if I'm taking a nap, I can tell when I'm choking a little bit.
Yeah.
So and this just happened over the last few years. I don't know if it was just stress related or what the case may be, but I thank God that He's able to explain and to let me see how important it is to
wear the machine,
to take care of myself, to stay on my blood pressure, and I'm believing that God is gonna take me off of the meds too, because I just don't feel like we should be on meds for everything. You're on one med for something, and then it creates another issue. Then they're checking your kidneys, they're checking your liver, but it's important to go to your annual checkups to get these things checked. I tell you, this man right here, he don't miss no appointments. That's for sure. If he does, he's gonna reschedule it as soon as possible. And so we just really sharing this video as Christians, as believers, that you just know that God is even there. If you're not a Christian, that God, all of the things that you're going through right now, if you're out there doing things that you still haven't gave your life to God, just know that God is looking out for you.
He is.
He's protecting you.
Another thing about sleep apnea is millions of people have it, but it goes undiagnosed because here's the thing about sleep apnea. If you snore, even a little bit, if you snore, you have sleep apnea. Anyone that snores have sleep apnea. Snoring is a sign of you're not breathing.
Or if you're sitting and you just go to sleep, you can't stay awake.
That
happens to me a lot.
You have sleep. It's a form of sleep apnea, and people don't recognize it because they say, "Oh, they just snore because they big, or they just snore because something's wrong." No, snoring is the first form of sleep apnea. If you got a mate that snores loud, they need to be checked.
And get a sleep study.
Get a sleep study done, because
especially if you have high blood pressure, get a sleep study.
High blood pressure, heart condition, sleep apnea causes every known thing to go on with your body can happen through sleep apnea. You can have high blood pressure. You can become a diabetic. You can't have memory loss. Memory loss is a big part.
Foggy brain.
You can have foggy brain. When you have sleep apnea, it can attack every part of your body, including your memory, including your ability to learn. It does that. So check your kids. It's important to check your kids. And if you hear your child snoring, you need to go to an ears, nose, and throat doctor because they can check for sleep apnea. A regular physician can't do it. You have to go to either a sleep doctor or ears, nose, and throat doctor to get this checked because it's important. I can't tell you how important it is to get your kids checked. I tell you, you look at me, you'll see a prodigy of God. You see God's grace and God's mercy sitting right here before you. This is what I am. This is who I am. And that's what I'll always tell people. Everything about me, everything about my life is about Christ. And I will never change that. My wife the same way. I watched her change a lot. From what she'd been through, what you told me that she'd been through, this God have took care of this woman. Y'all hear me? He have took good care of her. We put God the head of our house because we don't direct no other head. I can say I'm the boss, but there you go right there.
I'm not bad, y'all. I promise you. I do hide shoes in the trunk of my car, but not like
Yeah. She's something else. She's something else. But she keep me on my toes, though.
Shoes and purses, y'all know that. Y'all know.
She keep me on my toes. She always get because I like to do too much outside, but yeah, I'll be hurting. Yeah, my knees be hurting, but hey, God got me.
Yes,
and my wife got me. So we're blessed. We are truly two blessed people. Now, this is Calvin Brooks, and this is my wife, LaTanya Brooks. Sunflower and Lemonade, Backyard Ministry. We love you. And my wife says, God love you more. Have a blessed, wonderful, peaceful day.
Y'all be blessed.
Be blessed.